Just like trying to play a full round of Premier League fixtures during a COVID outbreak, we're back to bring you some truly terrible thoughts on football. Welcome, one and all, to episode 2 of First Time Ball. We are your lovely hosts. My name is Owen. With me is Shane, and deluded Chelsea fan himself, Adam Dillon, is here.
Man's biggest, the most hated man on TikTok at the moment, apparently.
Listen,
we're speaking facts.
There's been some controversy surrounding everything this week. Just how do you feel, Adam? The facts have been laid out for you. The stats have been shown.
I'd actually like to clearly point out that not a single person in the TikTok comments gave me a stat or a fact to back up that Trent is head and shoulders above Reece James. A lot of people just said because Reece James plays in a back five, he's obviously not a good defender. No, it's not how a back five works.
Can we just get some of the messages that we got on our TikTok video of Adam saying that do we have it?
My personal favourite.
All he does is stick the ball in and hope for the best. He's a fantastic crosser of a ball. And he's good at fucking finding space and making space up front. But when it comes to coming back, I think he's a bang average defender.
So basically, Adam called Trent Alexander-Arnold bang average defender. And some of the responses we got on TikTok were, stick to refereeing ad. Bang average defending is giving away fouls, which leads to a goal. Look at his numbers. There's some good ones here.
Someone also said, get that handicap off the internet.
This is why this lad has 5 followers. I think he was talking about the podcast there. And there was better ones than that. It was like, James has 6 defenders. Oh my God, deluded. That fucking rent boy is a tit. So yeah, you got a lot of abuse on TikTok for that statement, Adam. And we're just wondering, are you going to apologise to Liverpool fans out there now, or are you sticking to?
You can direct the apology at me if you want. Now is your moment.
Absolutely not. And I would like to add more fuel by saying that Jorginho is a better player than Fabinho.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Shoulders. Twice the player.
No. Now, see, you had us in the first half, right? Okay? Because I think you maybe, as deluded as it was, I think you believed what you were saying last time out. There's no way you believe Jorginho is a better player than Fabinho.
Where did Fabinho finish in the Ballon d'Or this year?
He wasn't nominated.
I wonder why that is.
Probably if you go by that stat,
his teams didn't win.
Ronaldo's better than Salah, which is like Ronaldo finished.
Overall, he is. Maybe not at the moment. He's definitely not, because Ronaldo's 37 and Salah's not. I don't know what age Salah is.
The comparison between Ronaldo and Salah is ridiculous because you're comparing a 37-year-old. I think that's just how quality Ronaldo is.
It is. It's a terrible comparison.
That just means because Owen is like, you have an agenda against Ronaldo. You hate Ronaldo.
I hate Ronaldo. I hate him as a person. Yeah, I think he's a piece of shit. Like I don't like him very much.
Yeah, but as a footballer,
as a person, as a footballer, I mean, he's undoubtedly the second best player of all time.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I cannot ever say with a straight face that he's better than Messi. I just don't believe it. But I don't like him as a person.
Yeah, I think that's divided opinion though with him and Messi, to be honest. Yeah,
it's always going to be a divided opinion. It's one thing people are never going to agree on.
For me, it's Ronaldo all day, every day. But that's me.
It's like the Lampard, Scholes and Gerrard debate on like a larger scale.
Yeah, a little bit. Much larger scale.
It's always a subject that nobody's ever.
There's also only one right answer in that debate as well.
Frank Lampard.
And I'll tell you what, it's not fucking Paul Scholes anyway. Tell you that much. That man is blessed to be in the conversation, I think.
Are you taking the piss?
No, I'm not taking the piss.
Are you joking?
I think Gerrard and Lampard are miles ahead of Scholes.
Oh my God, that is the most ridiculous.
Every category.
They're not fit to fucking tie his laces.
Oh.
No, okay, let's not go that far.
Probably is.
We're all going to get carried away here and ignore the fact that Frank Lampard is the highest scorer now.
Yeah, but I think
three of them.
what Owen just said is basically what is the equivalent of what I just said. Like, how can you say he doesn't belong in the same category as Gerrard and fucking Lampard?
Yeah, that's too far. I get we're trying to push the
I
envelope a bit here.
I don't think Scholes. No, I don't put him in the same league as Gerrard and Lampard.
Like, I get you don't put him in, like, because Gerrard's never won a league, but like Scholes, come on, like you cannot compare the two of them. Like you can't. Like Lampard has a point. Like how many titles did he lift at Chelsea? And yeah, I know Steven Gerrard in his own right has won the Champions League. What, once was it with Liverpool or twice? Once. Yeah, once, and carried him to a couple of FA Cups and stuff. But like you can't like Scholes. What did 16, 17 years at the top? Like.
I put Roy Keane in the conversation ahead of Paul Scholes.
Yeah, well, I'd put Roy Keane in the conversation anyway. I think he's one of the
anyway,
most...
new debate.
Side point, Roy Keane is the greatest captain to ever be in the Premier League.
One of the most underrated as well, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. He's a outrageous footballer.
So good, didn't get enough praise at all this time.
We
Listen,
got so sidetracked.
Believe it or not, we're not here to debate Messi versus Ronaldo or Lampard versus Gerrard or Fabinho or any of that crack. We're actually here to talk about this weekend's Premier League fixtures, which, I suppose it has to be said, there wasn't too many of them on. But we're lucky.
Some of them
we're lucky in some sense that at least there was a couple on that we have something to talk about this week, because we were debating at one point doing like a all-time Premier League team of the season or something if things got cancelled. Which you got a little teaser of there, I suppose, considering we would have been talking about which of those four plays in the midfield.
For a long time.
But yeah, Premier League games were so a lot of them were cancelled because, like I mentioned earlier, COVID has run amok amongst the Premier League teams thanks to Spurs. I'm blaming Spurs. I don't know. I just don't like them. I don't like them this week, so I'm blaming them on the COVID situation. But so who was playing? Leeds and Arsenal. Arsenal smashed Leeds 4-1. It ended up. I was watching that game actually. Jesus, Leeds are a poor team this season. Like I know they have they have a lot of injuries to a lot of their kind of
9 first team players.
Yeah, which is a lot. That's a lot for any team. Never mind, like Leeds wouldn't have the biggest squad anyway, but like they had like 15, 16-year-olds on the bench against Arsenal and stuff like so. It's hard, it's hard to say, but surely they're going to be in the conversation for being relegated. Like,
well, like
relegation,
you'd have to wonder.
The thing about it is they're playing relegation football. Like they're getting smashed week in week out, like and getting smashed bad. Like to actually the second half against Arsenal, they came out and they played football for the first, because they can play football. Like that's the beauty about Leeds. I suppose is they constantly play football and they don't give up on their on their way of playing, and that no matter how much they get by. But you kind of have to admire them too. Like they got smashed 7-0 to Spurs and they don't change their approach. Like,
yeah, it's admirable in that sense that like no matter who they're playing, they're not afraid of any of the big teams or anything. Like they have a style of football, and that's how they play it. It's like they don't know any other way to play. Like it's just this is drilled into them. Yeah. But to be beaten.
But in that sense, it is. Isn't their manager not like ridiculously set in his ways that he just doesn't switch from anything unless it's like a crisis? Like I know they kind of switched it up a bit when they were playing City, but sure, look, they're getting smashed 7-0. So
you could have to then at that stage. Like,
trying something new.
Yeah, he's a character, I suppose you'd say. Bielsa, like he's I wonder is not being able to spy on other teams. Hurting them this season as well or something. But I like Leeds. I think when they are like last season, they play good football, and it's nice to see a team like come up from the Championship and just go for it. Like, because realistically, what have they got to lose? To go back down, fine. Like they're good enough. I think that if they go back down this season, they'd come straight back up.
And big enough of a club like to attract players in the Championship.
Yeah, like they'll probably lose a couple of the players that they have, like I'd say are going anyway. Like Rafinha, I say is probably gone. Calvin Phillips might be on his way out the door as well, I think. So there's a couple of like their big players that they lose, but they'll get big money for him. So realistically, I'd say they come back up. Arsenal though, like to lose 4-1 to Arsenal, because like, here's the thing, right? The conversation now, right? This is, so to put it into context, this is the first time Arsenal have been in the top 4 at Christmas since 2014-15 or something. The last like 5 or 6 years, they've spent Christmas in the bottom half of the table. They're not even top 10. Like they've been 11th, 12th, 13th kind of stuff. Like, and people now are saying, "Oh, Arsenal, they're shoo-in. They'll get top 4. They'll be back in the Champions League." But like, I just don't see it.
No, I don't. I don't see it. I never get to like. Yeah, they went on a good run. I think it was 8 games they went unbeaten before they played United, and then they got bet to United, a bad United, and a bad Everton team. Well, a bad informed United, not a bad team, I say. But like I don't know. I never fear Arsenal. Like I would actually fear Conte, Spurs for top 4 than Arsenal. I just think they've no backbone. They might go for a couple of games, get some results, but they'll just constantly just be Arsenal, won't they?
Yeah, like Spurs have what, 2 or 3 games in hand at this stage? Is it 2?
2.
I think if Spurs win their 2 games in hand, they're up there in around the top 4 conversation as well. Like
if United win their 2 games in hand,
and you have
point.
Like, so you have United, Spurs, Chelsea, maybe all these other teams are also looking at top 4 at the minute. And I just don't see Arsenal having enough to get there. They have it's honestly what this team reminds me of after the height of Arsene Wenger's Arsenal and the Invincibles. You remember there was a couple of seasons where he had just a ton of talented young players. I remember one of the years they got to like the FA Cup final or something with it, and I think they lost the final to Chelsea or something. And the average age of their team was like 22 or something ridiculous. It was like Fabregas and Kleb and all them lads were like kids playing in the team. And this is what this Arsenal team reminds me of. Like, they've got a bunch of talented young players like Saka and Smith Rowe, who has been smashing it since the 2 of you said it the last day. So they're talented. Like, and even Tomiyasu, I think, is having a great season. And
Martinelli as well,
like,
starting to come into his own.
Martinelli looks like he's on fire the last while. So there's talent there, but 95% of these young talented players that come up at Arsenal don't make it realistically.
No.
Like they get into the Arsenal first team when they're 18, 19 and everybody goes, "My God, this fella's going to be the next Lionel Messi. Look at him, he's the best player in world football." And then by the age of 23, he's on loan at Shakhtar Donetsk or something. Like, it's, you know.
Yeah,
I just don't see it with Arsenal.
I don't, like, and Arteta's doing somewhat of a job, I suppose, but like the levels are low. Like the expectations are low now at Arsenal. Like, as a club, the standard has dropped that far. Like, top 4 would be, if they had top 4 this season, they'd probably put a statue of Arteta out. They've dropped it in standard that much. Like,
I don't know an Arsenal fan that is expecting anything from them this year other than probably get into the Europa League or something. Like, most Arsenal fans are just happy with winning a game every week. They take it week by week. A few of the lads I know are just like, they'll watch an Arsenal game, and if they lose, they're that unfazed by it now.
Yeah,
that it doesn't,
yeah. And there's no
bother
leaders
them
in the squad either. They've no captain at the minute. Like, Aubameyang got the boot. And actually, I was watching the game against Leeds with an Arsenal fan, and he was saying about if you go back through Arsenal's last like 10 captains or something, they've all been miserable. You had like Gallas went to Spurs. There's a couple of other. Van Persie went to United. Fabregas left to go to Barcelona. Koscielny handed in a transfer request because he wanted to leave the club. Xhaka like threw that strop on the pitch, and like, I don't know how he's even still at the club. Aubameyang is after being dropped for disciplinary reasons because apparently he went to Barcelona to get a tattoo when they told him not to. So like, they don't have any leaders in the team, and it's gotten to the point now where even he was saying is like the only one realistically he could see them giving it to would be Kieran Tierney, and he's only at the club like a year and a half or something. So it's they don't have that player that like there's no leader in the team that there hasn't been for a few years. I think they're missing that.
and I think like if you look at Arsenal, anytime they come up against the big six, like, they're just so bad.
Yeah, Yeah, they're beating shite teams. They're not even beating them convincingly, really, half the time.
No, I wouldn't be fearing them, but we have to, I suppose, we have to talk about the VAR this weekend as well at Spurs and Liverpool. Like, and what a fucking joke!
My God. Yeah.
I actually don't see the point in VAR if they're gonna miss. Like, they talk about clear and obvious, and the only way they can change a referee's mind is if it's clear and obvious. I don't see what's not clear and obvious about almost breaking a fella's leg. And the fact that he literally, if he did not jump off the ground,
his career is
his leg
over.
is
That was
snapped in two.
anyone but Harry Kane.
That's it.
It's a red card. Like, all day.
He's done.
The ref, they knew that was a red card all day. Harry Kane, England's golden boy, wasn't getting sent off.
Kane has the fucking stones then to say after the match that he won the ball and he didn't even think it was a foul.
He thought
it was just a hard tackle.
but he
He's
won the
such
ball.
a prick. Like, there's not many footballers that I just actively dislike more than Harry Kane. Like, there's something about him I've never liked. And this is just icing on the cake. The worst thing about it for me, right, is because the thing is, right, so Robertson got sent off, and it's fair, right? He deserved to get a red card for it. It's a red card all day, every day of the week, what he did. But the biggest problem is VAR in that instant worked exactly as it's supposed to. The ref probably didn't see the tackle great the first time, or he thought maybe he left a bit on the ball or whatever, so he gave him a yellow card. VAR within 20 seconds was like, here, straighten his ear, Tierney, you need to have another look at that, but probably you got it wrong. He goes over to the screen, he has a look at it he watches it back on the replay a couple of times, he changes the yellow to a red, and it's completely fair. It was a deserved red card. That's how VAR is supposed to fucking work. But twice earlier in the game, VAR just did not do that.
But do they shit the bed with it? Like the penalty, for instance, when Jota went up there and he got tackled, like Spurs counter-attacked and they were down at the other end and I think they nearly scored. I think it was like 30 seconds later. Like, they have a certain time limit to make this decision. Now, it was a stonewall penalty all day if they had looked at VAR. Like, do they look at that and in 30 seconds they go, right, we got to make this up as quick as we can, quick. Like, is there like a time limit or something? Because, like, the Kane red card penalty and, like, just the decisions, it's just a joke. Like, and the refs need to be punished, or the people behind VAR, because the difference in these, like what is the point of having it if you're not going to use it? And if you're going to use it for one end and not use it for the other end, like, it's so frustrating.
It's the consistency, like. It's the fact that they could get the Robertson tackle so right. Like, that's exactly what VAR is there for. That's how it's supposed to work, and it worked really well, and they did it quickly. But then for Kane's tackle, they didn't do anything, and for the Jota penalty thing, they didn't do anything either. It's what Klopp said after the match. He said, the Robertson thing is, it's fair enough, but we were surprised because up until that point, we thought maybe the VAR ref wasn't in his office today or something. It's like, actually has a point though. Like, what was he looking at when he saw that? When he watched that Kane tackle back, how did he look at that and go, it's fine?
He went, who is it? Oh, it's Harry Kane. Nah.
Yeah. Oh, England captain. No, he can't get sent off.
I think the only thing that, like, I could think of, like, as a referee, why they would do it is that he himself was on the ground. I know, like, his leg was up in the air, and, like, I'm not trying to say it's not a red card, but I'm trying to think of, like, from their perspective, why they didn't give it. I think it was more because he slid along the ground, and then, like, his foot was up, but they were looking at it because he jumped. And he was sliding on the ground because, like, there's a difference between, like, there's reckless, there's careless, and then there's endangering a player. And it's like, careless is, like, something you just give a foul for. Reckless is a yellow card, and then there's dangerous play. I can't remember the exact terminology for it. That's obviously a red card. But, like, I think they were looking at it more as reckless because he was sliding and he just threw a foot at it. But obviously, like, again, like you said, VAR should have said that's like, not reckless, that's dangerous
in that
play.
instance, I can understand the ref not giving it. Because of the angle he was looking at it from, I think he was he was kind of far away from the play as well. And he was
about 10
or 12 and he was
yards
looking
away
at it from he was on Kane's side, like, so he would have just saw Kane jumping into a tackle. It probably looked a bit, a bit like a rough challenge, like what Kane tried to claim it was. But the ref can't see that his studs are up, or that he honestly could have ended a man's life that day on the pitch. Like, But VAR can see it straight away.
Yeah.
All they have to do is watch one replay from another angle,
They've
and
got
then they go,
15
"Oh yeah,
angles."
no, actually, that's a shocking
It
challenge."
was,
And if Kane gets sent off, the game is completely different. Everything changes from that point onwards. Like, so it's.
And I don't think Robertson gets sent off.
No.
later in the
I
game.
don't think
No.
he makes that tackle if Spurs are down to 10
stupid
men.
tackle though. I think he's got away with one there as well with the whole debate on VAR now, because that was an idiotic tackle, and you 2-2, like not need to win the game because you're only 3 points behind City, but like that was like I honestly think
No,
it
it was
brushed
stupid.
under the carpet
Yeah.
so much because of the VAR decisions. But even the VAR decisions aside, like that game of football was some advertisement for the Premier League. That was the best game of the season so far. Like it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I could have done with a little bit
Just end-to-end
less
stuff.
excitement now. For
Spurs
me
were
now,
so
you know.
good. Like Spurs,
Just
Spurs
could
should
have
have
just
been 3
relaxed.
up against Poole like in the first.
Spurs should have, if I'm being honest, Spurs should have won.
It's probably
I know, like but like the way they
chances,
played,
yeah.
Liverpool were just asleep, and Spurs just
we're
didn't finish it. Like.
our like it's mad to see when you take like 2 or 3 players out of that Liverpool team, how easy it is to get through them. Like without like Van Dijk and Fabinho in the core of that team,
Taking the spine out of the
it was
team,
so
though, like,
easy. So the midfield yesterday, they were so easy to pass through. Like, and I know, look, in fairness, Tyler Martin is like 19 and it was his Premier League debut, so I can't go too hard on him. Like, he did all right, but like you can't be. I don't know how we're still playing James Milner in this day and age. Like, God bless the man. I love him to bits.
Oh,
but
his decision making,
It's-
decision making though, about 3 times on the edge of the box when he had the chance from stupid positions to pass the ball, play it along, build play, and he shoots like.
yeah,
I think he sees his name in lights way too often.
it's that, or like he still sometimes forgets that he's 42. You know, he thinks he's like he gets a rush of blood and he's like, yes, I'm back in the glory days. I'm 25 again and I'm gonna rocket this one in the corner. James Milner, the winger, is back.
Yeah, maybe so. But where do you think the title race then? Do you think with Chelsea stuttering that it's Liverpool and City now?
I personally think it's going to be City and Liverpool are there if they slip up. I don't see anyone stopping City.
I think for anybody to stop City now, it needs to be some sort of a fucking miracle. Like this feels like at the minute, it feels like the 98 points to 97 season all over again. Like where like it just wasn't. No matter how much Liverpool win and no matter how good they play, City are just some sort of horrible Saudi machine that just keeps coming, and like they just feel inevitable.
Yeah, they are
Right
they
now.
are.
It's you're just like, it's ridiculous how much depth and how much talent they have in that squad. Like that they could probably realistically make 10 changes every week and it's the same.
They could
Yeah.
put their second team out and probably still
Yeah,
win the
it's
league.
crazy. Like
It's nuts, like. And like I talked about, like before I mentioned to you that the depth that Chelsea have in their squad, and I thought that was to match City's, but like,
no?
you just
No.
can't match it. It's nuts how many they have, like 2 players for each role,
Yeah.
and even then, like the likes of Cancelo can play left or right back. They slot him in centre half when they need to. They have like so many versatile players that can go here, there, and everywhere, and they can just. Like they play De Bruyne as a false 9 when they don't
Yeah.
have a striker.
That's
like,
the maddest part of it.
he
Like
makes it
we were
work.
at the start of the season, we were all like, I think everybody thought like City's downfall would be that they don't have a recognized a
Striker.
proper number 9, like who's gonna score 20, 25 goals a season. But like what they've decided, I think, is that why we don't need one person to score 25 goals when
Yeah.
if every single player in the team gets 10, then it's better almost. Because there's like 6 players that come in and out of that front 3 and they're all going to probably hit 10 to 15 goals this season. Like, so it's mad. It's just crazy. It's frustrating actually is what it is. Because honest,
They're taking all the
it's
good
that,
players.
and it's like, as a Liverpool fan, I hate the fact that City are this good and that it had to be at the same time that
Yeah, 'cause
Liverpool
that
have
Liverpool
the
team-
best team they've had
Like,
in.
realistically, any other decade that Liverpool team is dominating for 4, 5, 6 Premier Leagues, like.
It's honestly like if City weren't around, this Liverpool team, like we would have at least another couple of Premier Leagues by now. Like
Yeah.
it's madness. Chelsea though,
Yeah, what's going on with Chelsea, Adam?
Injuries,
Yeah,
COVID.
I think you got hard done by the other day. Did you?
Just, we don't have a lot.
Appeal for the game to be called off?
The Wolves game should have never went ahead. Ever. In a million years. I don't know how they thought it should have or how it wasn't. Like, they applied for it the day before and they applied for it the day of. So they said the day before, can we cancel the game? We had 4 positive cases and we didn't have enough players to fill the bench. We were going to end up playing Jorginho, who wasn't fit. Kante was not fit. Kovacic, who's just back from being a long-term injury. Chalobah was just back from injury. We had Werner and Lukaku were out with COVID. Hudson-Odoi was out with COVID. Chilwell is obviously injured. And then there was a talk of Mendy, Mount, and Pulisic being close contacts. So they weren't even supposed to play yesterday, and that's the risk that like they could get tested tomorrow, and they could be positive. So they sent Jorginho back, 1 because he was injured, and 2 because he was close contact with Lukaku. And he's getting tested now, so he could come back positive. I actually think he has come back positive. I think Havertz and him came back positive.
He's had a slow start, hasn't he?
Lukaku? Yeah. He was okay at the start. I thought when he scored against Arsenal that we actually had the good Lukaku that would come back. But I don't think the way Chelsea play suits an out-and-out striker, like a hold-up striker. The way Tuchel plays and the way we play best was with a false 9. And I think Havertz is a lot more suited to the way Tuchel plays than Lukaku is. I think Lukaku is someone that you'd bring on if you needed a goal. He'd lump a cross in or a corner in and he could do something about it. He'd cause a bit of trouble in the box. But I think Havertz suits Tuchel's style of play a lot more because he drops in, he picks up the ball and he plays it out wide. Because Tuchel, 90% of our goals, I'd say, this season have come from the wings and have ended up in the box from the wing somehow. And I think that playing it through the middle to a striker is just not how we play. And I think we tried to do that with Pulisic because he's not the tallest fella. And we tried to do that with Pulisic against Wolves. And we tried to do it against Everton. And it just didn't work. And we ended up bottling both those games.
Yeah, I had Chelsea back at the start of the season. I thought Chelsea were going to win the league, to be honest. That's how I thought. But the last 2 months now, they haven't. Well, since that United game, actually, they've kind of before that, it's kind of fell off since that. But then you said you've had injuries and COVID is not helping anyone at the minute. I don't even feel like United are in the Premier League at the minute. 2 weeks since the game, they're not playing till it's so bad. Like I watched all the football this weekend and literally not. Well, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing for the United squad because it gives Rangnick a few extra weeks, but it depends on how many lads he has at training. If there was an outbreak, so I don't know how much he has training, how many he has there. But we had so many games coming thick and fast that I was like, is he going to be able to get the lads playing? But sure, he has another week now till a week today till we play against, I think it's Newcastle, which is not a bad game to come into.
Do you think that United's current run of games is going to give United fans a false hope about Rangnick?
I don't think,
because you don't have many big teams coming up. Not to say that Newcastle is not a big team, but I mean they're awful this year. You've had Norwich.
We have the next 7 games. I think 7 or 8 games we've got a good run in on games he should win. But then the Premier League,
I have him here if you want to see him.
Yeah, what have we got?
You've got Newcastle away, Burnley at home, Wolves at home, Villa away, West Ham at home. And that's up to February. Actually, then it's Burnley, Southampton, Leeds, Watford, all the way through till you play City in March.
Yeah, I think you've a point in what you're saying, and we should win them games. We should get playing good football, but we have lacked coaching for 3 years. Like Solskjaer, you want to talk about false hope, Solskjaer was it. He really was that man went on these runs, got these 6, 7, 8 games of these teams, went on runs like that when his job was up on the line. But I just think United have lacked for the last 3 years coaching. I think the mentality inside the club is weak. The player, like we have turned into like Disneyland for adults, where it's like a good season for us is getting like a pot noodle advertisement and top of the TikTok fucking league. No, really, like we've become so commercial. It's so annoying, like. And the fact that he's come in now, I want him to do 6 months, structure the club. But like people are talking maybe he's going to stay for another year. I don't want him. I want him to go into the back and sort out the background, because they need a football guy in there for the next 2 years. And like I don't think we're going to win the league for the next 5. To be honest, I think they need to get him in back. And what we need to be doing is we need to be on the prowl and ready when Klopp leaves Liverpool and Pep, because Pep will be gone in a couple of seasons. Klopp, I don't know how long Klopp will stay, to be honest, but 4 or 5, whatever years you get out, United need to get building on an actual football club and not so commercial. Like, and I think if they get Ragnick in the background for 2 years, he'll line up and actually get football talk. Like, because it's just like the fact that Solskjaer had to get bet 4-1 to Watford to get sacked. Like, just we have like it's just been an absolute unbelievably bad season for the squad we have, because I reckon we have the third strongest squad in the league. And not the third best team, like, because Liverpool have a better team than us, but I think we have actually better depth than Liverpool in the team. And like I think we've matched Chelsea's depth, like we really do. Like we've any amount of players, but we've just been so fucking bad. And I think Solskjaer, Carrick, Phelan, like we've just had so like it's just been nearly get your friends in here from Man United and we'll have a laugh. And like anytime Solskjaer got interviewed for like the last couple of years, they asked him about tactics, and he's like, express yourselves. That's all he talked about, was expressing yourselves and United DNA, and you're playing for Manchester United. Like we've gone 3 years without winning anything. I think Ragnick is going to come in. He'll implement the style which we haven't had in 3 years, and I'm not saying he's going to win us the league, but he'll get us playing football, and I think hopefully put down the foundations for us to get back to the top.
Is this new chief executive just more the same now?
Yeah, I don't think it. Like I think
what's his name? Richard Arnold. They've announced today is replacing Ed Woodward.
Yeah,
whenever he finally leaves the club, which was supposed to be like a year ago, was it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think I don't know, to be honest. I think I don't know much about him, so I don't. But
I just from what I've been reading today, he's been at United for a while. He's like the business arm of United, so he's the chief operating officer of Manchester United PLC. So he runs like the business side of United as like a on the stock exchange as a publicly traded company. He's coming in now to replace Ed Woodward as chief executive, which to me seems like swapping Ed Woodward for Ed Woodward. Like,
I don't think anyone can.
No, I don't know. Like, if he's
be that bad, to be honest. Like, Ed Woodward has just made mistake after mistake after mistake. Like, it's just been an absolute shit show. And he's just coming out and saying stuff like, you wonder why we pay 80 million for Harry Maguire when he comes out and says we Man United can do stuff in the transfer market that no one else can do in the middle of a transfer window. Like, okay, you can do what you want. Here's 90 million transfer fee. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just idiotic. Like, you know, that is so. I can't believe that someone of that like club can just carry on like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think like I'm positive for United moving forward. I think we'll get top four. I don't even think that'll be a struggle, to be honest. I think we'll easily get top four, and you never know. Chelsea start dropping more points, we could nudge them.
It's yeah. Do you think it'll be that easy to get top four ahead of
we win our
like
2
Spurs
games,
and
we jump Arsenal.
Spurs.
But we win our 2 games, we jump Arsenal, and I'm not really threatened by them. Spurs, like Conte will have them playing football, but
or West Ham.
They're a bad team. I don't fear West Ham, to be honest. Moyes is doing a brilliant job, but like squad depth will be a problem. They're in the Europa League. That'll have to be their number one target, is to win that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They don't have the depth to do Thursday nights in them.
I honestly it's gonna sound mad, but I think City are gonna walk the league, and then the second, third, fourth becomes a battle between Liverpool, Chelsea, and another team, probably maybe United or Spurs, to see where they finish above each other. I think Liverpool are going to fall apart.
You putting Liverpool that bad?
The African Cup of Nations is coming up, and we're losing Salah, Mane, and a bunch like a Keita. I know Keita is not like a world superstar or anything, like, but he's still a body that we need. Like, he still has to play games. we're losing a couple of big players, like, and I think Chelsea might be losing one or two as well. For like, do you know what I mean? You take the best player in the world out of any team. Like Salah is gone for what could end up being 2 months because it's possibly they'll all have to quarantine when they come home. So I just think we don't have enough. There's not enough players, especially with COVID going around. That I don't know. It's
thing
just
is, it's going to be a mixed bag too this season because like if COVID keeps going the way it is, you're going to have like you could have. You know, and I don't know what stories with like the vaccinations and stuff. What like the quarantine is longer if you're not vaccinated and stuff. So you don't know what way it's going to affect what players. So, do you know what I mean? Like you said, losing your best players affects results. And the Premier League is so like you just can't afford to take it easy in any game. Like you can be bet by the 19th place in the league. Like
that's the thing. That's why I think it's City because nobody else realistically can afford to drop any points between now and the end of the season. Because City are not going to do it. Like. We'll be lucky if they drop 2 or 3 points between now and the end of the season. I think they're just going to keep going.
Yeah,
they've hit their stride now, and they're just.
That's what I was just going to say. They've hit their stride, and it's not going to stop. They're just going to keep demolishing teams.
We've seen it all before. Like they're just going to keep going.
Yeah, because
it'll take something ridiculous to stop them.
They started very slow, and then they just got into this gear and ploughed.
Yeah, they were 13th at one point or something last year, and then. Ended up pissing away with the league.
Yeah, I don't know.
But sure, we did the same thing last year. We started off great. Lampard was top of the league for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then we just fell apart. Same thing's happening this year. I don't think we're going to fall apart to that extent. I think once we get our injuries sorted and everybody's back from
finishes
third
with Chelsea,
okay,
and does he get sacked? What does it?
No.
Yeah.
I think as long as he stays in the Champions League. As long as he stays top 4 and stays in the Champions League.
He's ruthless though.
You can't sack a manager after winning the Champions League and then just finishing third.
If anybody can sack a manager after winning the Champions League,
and got sacked the following season.
No, because Di Matteo is different. Di Matteo took over in the semi-final. He had 1 game to manage. Or sorry, the quarter-final. He had 2 games to manage. And we were already winning the quarterfinal, so when we'd won the quarterfinal, he was into the semi-final. The only difficult thing he had was Barcelona, and even at that, I can't say.
I cannot believe
any tactics
you were
won us that game.
Mateo's absolutely masterclass to win Chelsea the Champions League.
Chelsea sack managers after they win things, though. Like they've done it before.
Proven success, though. To be fair, hasn't it?
I mean, it's working.
Well, sure, like the thing is, we've only ever sacked someone for disgraceful results. I wouldn't call what we're going through now disgraceful. It's not good, but it's not. Like I said to you before, there was a guy on BT Sport that said Chelsea are in the middle of a crisis because we've dropped 6 points in draws.
Crisis.
Apparently we're going through a crisis and fucking Tuchel should be careful.
He's sacked.
It doesn't make any sense because like every manager is going to go through a blip and it doesn't matter if it starts at the start or if like Klopp was celebrating draws against West Brom, and now look at him, he's the best fucking manager in the world. I know what Chelsea are like, and if it continues into next season and we finish 4th again, he probably will get sacked. But I think that if they give him this season to build what he wants, give him the next transfer window, I think we're up there or thereabouts next year, and it's going to be a lot closer. And I don't think if we finish, say, 2nd next year or 3rd, he's going to get sacked again. Because if we're competing in the Champions League and we're getting quarterfinal, semi-final year in, year out, you can't fault a manager for that. I personally, like, obviously, like you said, Chelsea's board is ruthless and we tend to sack managers over everything. But I think once our injuries are sorted, we're going to go back to not playing as well as we did because, to be honest, I don't think that rhythm's gone. But I think we'll stay top 4. We'll finish top 4 this season anyway. And we'll do a good Champions League run.
Like,
well.
I think
we're definitely not. I think
the poor results have been coming. To be honest, I think there was a patch for a while where you were not so much getting lucky, but like you weren't playing that well, but you were still getting results. No, even like just like say a month ago, like you had like a few late winners and like you were still kind of just like grinding out results, but you could see things starting to kind of. You know, and it is true. Like every normal team goes through a bad patch of games. They're like, it's not, you know, the best teams of all time can't win every single game. it's just that like when City are in this league, you can't afford to have even like a 2 or 3 game period where you get like 2 draws and a loss or something. Like you have to just keep winning everything, and it's so annoying.
I don't think we were that bad up until, like, I'd agree with Shane. I think after we played United is when things started to go downhill. Because before that, I didn't see anything wrong. I thought, like, the first game when we played Liverpool, I thought for 10 men we did very well.
I know, but yeah, but I mean that's like
and then only losing 1-0 to City.
That was like start of the season though. You were flying it. I think still. I think though, like prior to just over the last, I'd say 5 or 6 games, you were still winning games, but you could see it was kind of like
them games. To be fair, like we've been getting 2-3 games, 10 days, like so. I don't know. I think once them injuries clear up a bit, I'd say you probably will see a bit. I think he's been a victim of his own success as well. Success as well, to be honest. Because he comes in and wins Champions League, has Chelsea playing absolutely amazing, and that was a youthful Chelsea side took over Lampard, and I think like even me at the start of the season, it's like Tuchel is going to win that league with that team. Like he's playing unbelievable. Brings in Lukaku. You're looking at 30 goal season. Well, I thought maybe 30 goal season Lukaku this season in the Premier League. But I don't know. That
way, Lukaku was Abramovich, surely.
I think Lukaku was like our much smaller version of United bringing Ronaldo back.
Do you think?
They wanted, because Lukaku has always talked about how he wanted to play for Chelsea and he wanted to prove himself, and he always said that, like, since he was younger, that he wanted to play for Chelsea and play in Stamford Bridge and all this shit. And it was more like he didn't want to be at Inter Milan, and Inter Milan were willing to let him go for mad money, so they were like, fuck it, let's try and match Ronaldo. Or
the man scores goals, like.
I'm pretty sure he was signed before Ronaldo came back, but like it was more of a sentimental signing, I think, than anything.
Lack of strikers too, to be fair. Like if you look on the list of world strikers that you could buy, like look what City ended up without a fucking striker because there's a lack of them. Like
that's the thing. We couldn't get Haaland, so
we went in for him. But he's an absolute beast. But I just having Pogba and having to deal with his agent is just not worth it. Like he's just.
That's why we're just leaving it. We're going to take Bellingham instead. Come on in, Jude.
Like you were
Let's
come
back.
Well.
Come on in, son. Mr. Jude Bellingham came out there today and told every player in world football should get vaccinated.
Did he?
6 to 10 hours after Jurgen Klopp announced that Liverpool will not sign a player unless they're vaccinated. Coincidence? Probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah, so. But I can fucking dream that we might spend 90 million on Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
I think Jude Bellingham is good. Don't get me wrong. Like he's a fantastic player, but I'd take Haaland over him any day.
Yeah. I mean, like they're very, very different.
Different positions.
Players, well. But I think with Bellingham, a lot of it is potential as well. He's already a very good player, but he is so young as well that it's like.
And he's British.
Think of what he could be.
Do with the British youngsters.
And he's British, which means somebody is going to have to give Dortmund 150 million.
Is that so?
Easy.
Is that so? With kind of does that carry over past the Premier League? I thought. Is that far?
I think because he's British, like clubs in England, English teams would be willing to pay a bit more from. Surely, like Dortmund are not idiots. They'll know that, like realistically, if United and Chelsea and Liverpool all want to sign Bellingham or Haaland, well, no, sorry, but just Bellingham. Haaland's not English. Just Bellingham. They'll know that, like.
Technically, is he was born in
there
Leeds.
you go. But they'll know. Dortmund know that they can set a bidding war for either of those two players. That like.
Yeah.
Because realistically, there's not a club in world football that would turn down the chance if Dortmund turn around in the summer and say, we'll let Haaland go. There's going to be 6 or 7 clubs that are going to come in with offers. Like, it's not like they're going to be stuck. It's not like they can only go to, like, they're going to have to shop them around and be like, and you want this, and you want the best young player in world football? No? Nobody? No? United? No? Not interested? Yeah,
I think Grealish has flopped something fucking terrible as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I never thought too much of him, even at Villa. I think he was a big fish in a small pond at Villa, and like, but he's always been I don't know. He's a bit like Nanny for me.
Don't you
Honestly.
diss Nanny?
No, I mean, I like he's
Nanny was class.
come on. He's kind of like
Nanny was
he he does all the little flicks and tricks and that kind of shit that, like, you know, it looks good on a fucking Soccer Saturday skills reel every Sunday morning or whatever, but like he's gonna be great in a, you know, a YouTube compilation at the end of the season. You can throw 15 minutes together and people are like, Jesus, Grealish, some player. But he's just not, like, he just doesn't do it every week. He's a bit of a show pony. Like,
what he done at Villa, like, he was absolutely unbelievable. Like, he single-handedly kept him, like...
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
I would.
No, that Villa were a good side.
Who else would have helped?
Villa were a good side.
No,
Like.
Villa were a good side, to be fair, but like you're writing off like about 3 to 4 years of top football from with Villa.
Well, it wasn't top football because he was playing at Aston Villa.
Yeah, he's still playing.
That's not how it
He's still
works.
playing Premier League
He's
football.
at he's at
one
the
of the main
top football
reasons-
level now, and he's not doing
Yeah,
it.
no, but he was playing top football at a Premier League club where he was getting serious fucking stats at a mid-table club, like.
You like comparing, like what Shane's saying. You can't really compare him playing with the best, some of the people or players in the best in their positions at City, to when he was playing at Villa, where he was clearly the best player, and like he just showed that he was head and shoulders above the rest. Maybe he's not world class like 90% of the City squad is. But you can't argue that he's not decent.
He's not. No, I'm not
because
saying he's not
he was
decent. Like, he's a good footballer, but he's not. He's not £100 million like world sensation Jack Grealish.
No,
Like he
nobody's 100
never was that. Like I think Aston Villa put that release clause in his contract, not realistically, not thinking anybody was ever going to touch it. I honestly don't think they by putting that in his contract, they thought, right, this is him here for life now, because nobody's going to pay £100 million for him. Because he's not worth that. He never was.
Good business by Villa in the end, really, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
They got some good
They
signings
got a
out of it as
few.
well.
They're looking great as well under Stevie G, ain't they?
To be fair, Gerrard is a very good manager.
Can I? Oh, I was about to say, can you send me that clip at the end of this? I want to make that my text message alert. Just Adam's praising Stephen Gerrard for something.
He's a good manager. You can't deny it. I didn't want to say it because when he was at Rangers, it's a 2-horse thing. I could fucking manage Rangers or Celtic to win a league, like over in Scotland. Like the Scottish
See, I
league
think
is
it's
not even a
Stephen
league.
Gerrard though.
That's why,
it's
like,
Stephen
I don't
Gerrard.
even-
You listen to him because he's such an iconic player as well. Like of fucking, you know, Liverpool, like one of the greats of Premier League era, like with Liverpool. So I think you get a lot of looking up to, and they're still in the honeymoon phase. To be fair, like I did. 'Cause,
Yeah,
you know,
it's to be fair, like they did. He set them up. He set that Villa team up very well when they came back, when they played us at Anfield like a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't a case of like, I think tactically he actually set them up in a way that they could have got a result out of that game. They were unlucky in some senses not to come away from Anfield with a draw. I think he's probably still learning a lot of it. It'll be interesting to see like how long the grace period lasts with him, or does it become a case of like after January now, if they give him a bit of money to spend and he brings in some of his own signings, does it become kind of like a Lampard at Chelsea situation? Or it's also interesting to see which one of the crop, because most of them, like Gerrard, Rooney, Lampard, like there's a couple of them, that kind of generation of talent are in management now. It'd be interesting to see if any of them actually makes it at a top level.
I think as well with Gerrard, like I want to see 6 months time, like this time next year even, like you said, after bringing in signings, or 2 back-to-back defeats or 3 back-to-back defeats, and a bit of pressure on him, and see how he pulls him out of that, you know, because the minute, like he seems to be talking all the right things and the players are answering, but like Steven Gerrard walks into the dressing room, like you listen, don't you? Like
You're gonna respect a player like that. to be
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, true.
And I think that's why like the likes of like Gerrard, Lampard, and Rooney do well at the start because of who they were as players. Like if you're on any kind of football team, if someone like Gerrard or Lampard walks into your dressing room and says, "This is what we're gonna do," you're gonna sit up and listen, because
Yeah,
they've played at the top for so long, they know what they're doing.
yeah. I would love it. I'd love it if he does really well with his Villa team.
But he's in the shop window for Liverpool.
Next,
no?
like that's the whole thing. Like if it's the next,
That's the
if it's
whole
the next,
thing,
if he
to prove he's
the next 2 or 3 seasons, like if he stays at Villa for 2 or 3 years and they do somewhat well, and I like for this Villa team, honestly, doing well for them, they should be like Europa League,
FA Cup win or something.
pushing up. They should maybe win a cup, hit like
to the
top
Conference League or
5, 6, 5th or 6th or something maybe. If he can do that and he comes back to Liverpool, I mean it's a fairy tale, isn't it? It's a dream come true for Liverpool fans to have Steven Gerrard managing the club. And
he's doing it the right way, to be fair.
I can tell you those fairy tales don't usually end well.
Yeah.
Shit the bed at Liverpool then.
Sure don't.
They usually fucking end in
For
heartbreak.
me and
and-
Adam's experience, don't touch the ex-players.
Yeah, actually maybe we
tell
should
you,
sell him.
and it just makes it so much harder to let them go when you have to
Yeah,
strike.
yeah. I'm actually take back everything I said. I hope he fails miserably at Aston Villa.
I'm
I hope he never wins another
I'm
game.
not on for that anymore, to be honest. The ex-player manager doesn't do it for me. It just doesn't.
Doesn't work.
There's too much
Too
nostalgia
much-
to it, and there's too much loyalty. Like, if a manager's
Yeah.
not doing well, he's not doing well. Like, look at Solskjaer. Like, how much was he got? How many get out of jail cards did he get because he was he's a club legend, like, and he is, and that'll never change. Like, you know? But like, it's just it gets so messy when they come in. And fair enough, Gerrard seems to be like, listen to him talk about football. Like, I listened to Solskjaer talk about football. I kind of listened. I was like, I want him to do well, but you kind of listen to him. You're like,
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't know
you
what
listen
he's saying.
to
Gerrard, you don't get the same vibes. Like,
I get like you can listen to Frank Lampard talk about football all day very well, and it sounds like he knows what he's talking about. It's just different when you're at a big club and the expectations are now you have to win
That's why I
everything.
think
Like
Gerrard will do a bit better because he didn't go like Lampard had Derby and then went to Chelsea. Whereas like Gerrard is going Rangers, then Villa, then possibly Liverpool. He's getting like more experience compared to like what Lampard or Solskjaer did. Like Solskjaer, coached in Norway,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
got
Cardiff.
Swansea relegated.
you're gonna get it right.
Sorry.
And to be fair, I actually feel for him with that. Everyone pushes that on the poor fucker. Like, yeah, he did get Cardiff relegated, but he didn't even have a full season with him. Like, he came in mid-season and got him relegated. So like, people are very easy to push that under him. Like, but yeah, he did get him relegated, but like, it wasn't his group of players or what. He was a quick fix, like he was at United, and it didn't work. But I do think Lampard's next
Wasn't Tuchel's squad of players, but we still won the Champions League.
Di Matteo too, but she took that away from him.
Levels.
well, yeah. Talking about a club that needs to make some signings in January, Newcastle.
Oh, Newcastle! Can I tell you what is he doing that
man.
Steve Bruce wasn't doing? Like, besides
Eddie
Bolton
Howe.
losing, like, what is he doing differently? Like,
Nothing. Not doing anything.
Nothing, because they expected it to go better with him taking over.
It's been miserable.
Because they saw how well he did with Bournemouth, like when he turned Bournemouth around and brought them up, 3 straight promotions. I would put my faith in a manager.
Yeah, I
like
mean,
that as
to
well
be
if he
to
was
be
going
fair,
free.
like Eddie Howe, the work he did at Bournemouth was unbelievable.
yeah,
That was a crazy story. Like to take them all the way up through the leagues to the Premier League, and for a couple of seasons keep them in the Premier League. Do you know?
Mid-table as well at that night.
Yeah,
even, like,
he did an unbelievable job with Bournemouth, and then unfortunately, it ended. Look, I don't know if he's realistically Eddie Howe becoming the Newcastle manager. It's like when City first got a load of money,
Mark Hughes.
and they brought Mark Hughes in, and it's like
He's not going to be there in a year's time. Like,
he's a good manager, but like as soon as if Newcastle start winning and like they stay in the Premier League somehow and they get in and they spend a shitload of money and they get in all these like big name players or whatever, Eddie Howe's not going to stay there.
No,
They're not going to keep Eddie Howe if he's managing some like world class talent or whoever it is they can't get in. Problem is now I don't think they're going to be able to sign anybody in Newcastle or in
they'll get
January.
Lingard.
Like
They'll get Lingard for.
that's the kind of players they might get like Jesse Lingard and
They're
Anthony
talking 200
Martial
grand
maybe, and
for
like it's
Lingard. They're talking 200 grand a week for Lingard.
Yeah.
The rumours, and 20 million tonight. I'm sorry, but Jesse Lingard did 6 months of unbelievable football for West Ham, and I honestly don't think he'd do it for Newcastle because everyone keeps forgetting that he was playing behind closed doors, like playing home and away with no fans. That's training. That's not the same thing. Like, and I just think if they bought him, I think the pressure on him having like the Toon fans are not easy. Like, they're some of the best fans in the world, but they're not easy. Like, if he goes there and he's not performing after 3-4 games, they're losing. It'll just turn sour. And I think, honestly probably, Eddie Howe probably spend 100 million in January. He'll be gone by March. I could see him going for someone.
Yeah, that's the caliber of player. Like, what realistically, it's them, or you're going to get just like mercenary types who'll go anywhere for a paycheck. Like, they're not really interested in playing football or playing for
Oscar back to the league.
Yeah, well, that's it. All these mad lads that went to China for a massive paycheck, like, they can bring a heap of them back in. Like, do you know what I mean?
Perfect example. QPR went and signed every has-been that ever existed. Like, and it was like, oh jeez. No, but the amount of
Adil Tarapt, he's signed for Newcastle. No matter.
Look at them now, like, they're living in the Championship.
I don't mind if they want to raid a few. They want to come to Liverpool and take a few of our fucking deadwood. They can have them.
They can have Sal Niguez. We'll buy him off.
Throw me in a few old shillings and I'll give you fucking, I don't know. You can have Nico Williams or something. Give us 20 Williams or something. Listen, man, Eddie Howe gave us what, like, was it 30 million or something for Dom Solanke, I think, and he 30 million for Jordan Ibe.
Christ,
he can come back in. He'll give us 25 million for Nico Williams. No bother, on the button.
But that
gave us fucking 24 million for Nick Naka as well.
Flying it, sure.
But then again, he's class now. So,
do you think they'll get out of it?
I think no. I don't see him getting out of it at this stage. I can't see it. Like,
they'll go down, but they'll come straight back up.
I really do. I just don't want to see another money.
I like see him go down and then the Saudi owners pull the plug and all falls apart. Just because I'm miserable.
Oh, wait, these guys are shit.
Speaking of,
go on.
I was going to say, speaking of pulling the plug.
Oh.
Well, we don't have to. We can keep talking if you want. Like,
podcast their own, just pull the plug. I don't see him. I hope to get relegated, to be honest, because it's not even against Newcastle. It's just the Saudi owners, like, and it's another PSG. But I don't think they'll see it. But it'll be interesting to see who they sign in January, though.
Some big names, hopefully. Make it a bit interesting.
Now, apologies, my guys. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening to us. Hope we didn't bore you all too much. This has been episode 2 of First Time Ball. Catch us across all your social media platforms: TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, all those good shits. We'll post this episode to the YouTubes and to Spotify and some other platforms, maybe. Give us a like, drop us a follow, all that stuff. And leave us a comment. What do you think? Well, can Newcastle stay up? Is it Eddie Howe the man to save them? Who's your picks for top 4 this season? Who's going to win the league? Can City be stopped at this stage? See you all in the next one.
Now here's Rooney. Oh my goodness! Oh, you beauty!